I have another project apart from Ethereum, which I'm very bullish on. Uh, has anybody over here heard about Trader Joe? If you have, please comment below.
A big fan of the Avalanche ecosystem, becoming more and more bullish on the Avalanche ecosystem.
Yeah, guys, this could be the future. This could be the future of trading and DeFi all rolled into one. I saw this presentation yesterday. So anybody out there who's into Avalanche, listen up.
Yeah. So I'm actually super bullish on Trader Joe, and I'm saying that not because it reminds me on Minecraft. There are good reasons for it, and I'm just gonna decipher some of these reasons for you from a very fundamental perspective. So you have conviction when you buy uh, Trader Joe. Financial advice again. So first thing first, within Ethereum, we have a big blockchain problem. As you guys all know, Ethereum is slow. You have high gas fees, and there's also a problem of front running. So Ethereum today is around 4,500. That means if you want to do some transactions at 180 Go, the cost will be about $100. So if you're a retailer, you don't want that, right? You don't want to use Ethereum for small transactions, and plus you don't have instant finality, right? If you do transaction, it can take few minutes to, depending on how active the network is, it can take few minutes, whilst on Avalanche you can do a transaction in few seconds. It's not just that, even the whole user experience is amazing, right? Like if you go on Avalanche, bridging from Ethereum to Avalanche is simple, and the gas fees is also reasonable. So all in all, for DEX, if you're talking about DEX, uh, Avalanche as a chain also makes sense because of all of these features. So from a macro perspective, Avalanche supports Trader Joe very nicely. But now let's talk about some of the micro perspectives, right? So if you know, DEXs are one of those protocols that operates in a winner take all marketplace. So for instance, if you see DEX in Ethereum, which is the first name that comes to your mind, and please mention below. The first name that comes to your mind is Uniswap, right? And when I mention Binance Smart Chain, what's the first name that comes to your mind? That's PancakeSwap. So these chains have one DEX that becomes the primary place where users go, and I think similar thing will happen in AVEX ecosystem. So decentralized exchanges have a winner take all market, and I believe Trader Joe is going to be one of those exchanges that takes all the market when it comes to DEXs there. So Trader Joe is not just a DEX or AMM. They have also launched a lending product, and in the future, since the founder has experience in derivatives, I have a feeling that they are going to launch a lot many derivative products. So when you have derivative products, you have lending products, you have a DEX, and in the future you also have margin trading. You are talking about one stop shop, which will attract lot many users, not just within the AVEX ecosystem, but from uh, other ecosystems as well. So this is also one of the reasons why I like Trader Joe so much. Also, the third point why I like Trader Joe is the community first focus, and I think this is the key when it comes to having a very sustainable protocol within crypto. Building up a community is very important. So 50% of all the token supply went to liquidity providers. So people like us, we got these tokens rather than VCs. So for me, this is a very attractive value proposition. Kind of shows to me that the founder has that culture mindset that crypto is all about users, it's all about community rather than making money for themselves or for crypto. So another reason why I like Trader Joe. Also, there was some small allocation towards VCs. So you also have some VCs involved, and these VCs are high quality, extremely high quality VC. So when we talk about Defiance Capital and Mechanism Capital, they are DeFi specialist VC. So if these VCs are involved, that kind of also shows you, gives you validation that this is a good product. Apart from that, Avalanche Foundation and Delphi Digital is also involved. Again, very big name. So when some of the big names are also involved, even though they're given a very small allocation, that also should kind of give you a green flag that this is a good project. So I don't know if you have guys have used Trader Joe before, but when I used it, I fell in love with the UI and the user interface. You have like when you're harvesting a coin, you have these music playing. You also have like these interesting. You also have a chart which Pangolin previously in AVAX didn't have. So I really like the user experience and the fact that you can provide liquidity with one click. So let's say traditionally you had to have two tokens. Let's say if I'm providing liquidity to AVAX and Trader Joe, I had to have both tokens and then basically provide liquidity. But what Trader Joe also does is I don't have to have both tokens. I can only have one token, and they have a mechanism in play where that one token will be split into two parts, and I can basically buy basically provide liquidity. And yes, if you are a Joe staker, you also would have received some airdrops recently called Tractor. So well done if you were staking Joe. Uh, uh, there are a few other reasons why I also like Joe, which I'll mention, which I'll discuss later. Is firstly you have a reasonable valuation, and the final reason is that recently the Joe community they launched a meme coin called Tractor. So this is a meme coin with a purpose, right? It's not like Doge, I would say, where every transaction, let's say if you're buying Tractor Joe, if you're buying or selling Tractor Joe, there will be 2% fees for buying or selling Tractor Joe. And that 2% fee will be accumulated to burn off Joe. So that 2% fee will be accumulated in a pool, which will be used to buy back Joe and burn those Joe permanently. So another reason why I like Joe very much. So another reason, like I mentioned this reason before, that user interface is amazing. Uh, Usually, you don't see charts within Dexes. Like let's say if you have used within Avalanche Pangolin before, they don't have a chart. So you're basically swapping coins without even knowing what's going on. And plus, I mentioned earlier the UI and UX is beautiful. This is one example of it, and I think it will attract a lot of DeFi uh, degens who basically want the mimification, the gaming element of basically trading. So I think this also caters to that. So prior to last couple of days, the prices have stabilized, but before that, prices were falling. And don't worry, the prices weren't falling for just like that. That there was a large unlock of tokens because of LP provision. So that's why the prices were falling. But I believe that was the time to accumulate. And if you are accumulating during this time, kudos to you. I think you're doing well. Again, not financial advice. Again, I also wanted to show that why Trader Joe will be the dominant DEX over here. So let's say if you see the chart over here, this is all the DEXs currently on Avalanche. So just see how much TVL Trader Joe has captured. While Pangolin over here has been operational for the last 6 7 months, they have stagnated. Whilst Joe has not only increased their TVL, but they have been thriving and they became the dominant player. So this basically should give you conviction in your thesis that Trader Joe is going to become the Uniswap of Avalanche. So this again shows you the similar picture. The TVL in Trader Joe massively, like 2.3 billion versus just peanuts compared to Pangolin over here. So yeah, Trader Joe has good prospect with regards to that. So also, if you look at the website, unique visitors visiting Trader Joe's website, again you see a very strong uptrend, and this uptrend is basically not dipping anymore. So you have 112 unique visitor visiting, again a very bullish sign for Trader Joe. So again, you can have a project, but then a project could be very expensive to buy. So over here, I've also done a valuation, which kind of gives you which is the cheapest and the most expensive which is basically this kind of gives you a value investing approach that let's say if I were to buy a token, am I buying a token at a very high valuation or lower valuation? So if you look at it, Pangolin is pretty expensive if you compare it on the fully diluted market cap versus how much. So Pangolin very expensive, while Trader Joe is basically operating in this league, like on the value investing side of things. So it's slightly more expensive than sushi, but it's still on the cheaper side. Whilst Pancake and Pangolin and Uniswap are more expensive. So you are basically buying an investment which is at reasonably valued. You should have confidence in that. Also, this is price to earning. So let's say if you are So if you're paying a price for a particular token, how many times earning are you paying for it? So this is also one of the matrices used in the equity market. So at the moment, if you buy Curve, which is also a stablecoin AMM, you are paying with the price you're paying, you're basically paying them 280 times, 88 times the earnings they're generating. Whilst with Trader Joe, you are basically paying them 28.6 times the earnings they will generate. So even on this metric, Trader Joe is very cheap and would be and should be something one should consider when buying. This is like a brief comparison with Pangolin. So Trader Joe have around 6 times, 7 times more volume. So for a DEX, volume and liquidity is the most important metrics, and Trader Joe is basically excelling at it and kind of dominating Pangolin. Again, valuation wise, also much cheaper. Yeah, again cheaper, also cheaper in terms of PE. So all in all, Trader Joe looks very attractive in terms of entry point. Finally, I'm also doing a relative valuation where let's say, when I'm assuming the AVAX price at $72. So let's say if you have AVAX at $72 and Trader Joe, because it becomes the Uniswap of Avalanche ecosystem, if it captures 15 to 20% of its market share, what's the target price I should aim for? So the target price you should aim for is $12 to $16. So that's the target price I get if I believe it captures 15 to 20%. I believe 10 to 15% is reasonable within few months. So for me, the target price is around this level based on that metric. So I've also done and attempted to do some TA. So so with this, what I'm seeing is a wedge. So if you can do two things, either you can see a clear breakout of this wedge around $3.4 and you can basically enter, or you can basically wait for an entry at the bottom of this wedge, and then hopefully it breaks in the future. And I've also done some GAN analysis. So one of the things is that recent price action is also very bullish. It broke this it broke this angle, and if it starts to break the grand resistance over here at $4, sorry, around the $260, then there can also be a good upside. Now, in terms of where you can buy Joe, I would basically, instead of buying Joe, I would basically do yield farming, so provide liquidity, and based on that, just try to earn Joe. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this presentation, and thank you.
Token Metrics is a cryptocurrency investment platform that helps users leverage machine learning to become better crypto investors. Our in-depth analysis helps eliminate the emotions of investing, find profitable investment opportunities, and filters out scams. Learn more at tokenmetrics.com.